I think Detroit felt that. The second round prediction of a knockout in the fight that you went down a couple times.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna smash your fucking face in, you prick. How about that for a fucking mess?
Tyson Fury just slapped Arslanbek Makhmudov right across the face at their press conference. And what happened next reveals exactly why the heavyweight division is about to explode into absolute chaos. This wasn't some staged WWE nonsense. This was real violence bubbling over, and the look in Makhmudov's eyes afterward tells you everything you need to know about what's coming when these two giants step into that ring.
My opinion was probably the best one I've ever seen him, and he still couldn't beat the Gypsy King on my worst night. So over a year later, he ain't got no chance. I'm gonna slap him.
Here's what nobody's talking about, though. That slap wasn't just Fury losing his temper. This was calculated psychological warfare from a man who's made a career out of breaking opponents before they even throw their first punch. John Fury painted the perfect picture when he described his son as having that fighting spark from birth, that natural killer instinct that you can't teach in any gym. And watching Tyson step up to a 66 monster like Makhmudov without hesitation proves that DNA runs deep. The Gypsy King wasn't intimidated by size, reputation, or that terrifying 90% knockout ratio. He saw an opportunity to establish dominance and took it without thinking twice.
He was born with his fists up, and that glint in his eye always knew he was going to be somewhat special. He was born to fight, all right. The ones who's got Fury DNA, not shy of a fight.
But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Frank Warren, Fury's own promoter, immediately came out saying he doesn't condone the chaos despite all the hype it's generating. Think about that for a second. Your own promoter is distancing himself from your actions because he knows how dangerous this situation just became. Warren's been in this game for decades, and even he's admitting that security is now a legitimate concern when these two are in the same building. That tells you this isn't just another fight anymore. This is personal, and personal fights in the heavyweight division have a way of ending careers.
You honestly think if these two come together like this, well, you know what's going to happen?
So what you
Eddie Hearn captured the raw tension perfectly when he said the threat of confrontation is palpable every time these guys are near each other. And get this, Shane Fury, Tyson's own son, highlighted something crucial that most people missed. He talked about the difference between online bravado and real-life confrontation, and how his father acts on pure instinct when someone crosses that line. That slap wasn't planned marketing. That was Tyson Fury's primal fighting instincts taking over, the same instincts that have carried him through wars with Deontay Wilder and dominated every heavyweight he's faced. When Fury walked into that press conference, the energy shifted immediately, and even seasoned fighters took notice.
It seems to be like you can talk about someone online and do videos, but not expect someone to say anything when you see someone. So I don't know. Listen, my dad's got his ways and his points, and 90% of the time he's half right, but...
Now listen to this part because it's crucial. Wade Plemons raised serious questions about the consequences of Fury's actions, and he's absolutely right to be concerned. That slap might look like fiery theater to casual fans, but it also shows just how unpredictable Tyson's mental state really is. Every move he makes is somehow both calculated and completely shocking, and that combination of chaos and precision is what keeps the heavyweight division electrified. But here's the kicker. For a fighter of his caliber, this level of intensity can ripple through his entire career in ways nobody sees coming.
Probably shouldn't be doing that, right? There he goes again. Now again, I'm no doctor, I don't know, but it does seem like...
Terence Canelo called out the antics afterward, emphasizing the line between bravado and straight-up foolishness, but Alvarez missing the point entirely. Fury thrives on walking that exact line, blending showmanship with genuine menace in a way that no other heavyweight can match. The press conference slap wasn't just theater, and it wasn't just a warning. It was both simultaneously, which is exactly what makes Tyson Fury so dangerous. Opponents and boxing insiders alike are constantly reminded that this heavyweight is as cunning as he is explosive, and he never allows the spotlight to fade or the narrative to slip from his control.
Didn't get to. No, I just told him about himself. He know what I said, but he got to stop being a clown, you know? Like, everybody not with the clown antics and things like.
Hold up. Did you catch what Canelo Tyson said about this whole situation? He pointed out the subtle genius behind Fury's approach, noting that while Crawford's may not rely on raw knockout power like other heavyweights, every single gesture carries massive psychological weight. From that press conference slap to his movement in the ring, Fury's mastery lies in perfect timing, commanding presence, and mind games that start months before the actual fight. The heavyweight landscape completely changes when you have a fighter who can control public perception, while simultaneously delivering real physical danger.
Everything in a fighter, a complete fighter. He don't have power in the punches, but sometimes you don't need it. You know, when you that kind of fighter, you.
But there's something way bigger happening behind the scenes that nobody's addressing. John Fury reminded everyone that the true test comes under the bright lights, not in training camps or press conferences. Crawford preparation has been absolutely meticulous during his time training in Thailand, yet unpredictable moments like that slap reveal the fire burning inside him that can't be measured in any gym. His confidence isn't just palpable, it's infectious, and his opponents know that facing him is never just about technical boxing skills. It's about surviving the mental and physical storm he brings to every single fight.
Because you'll only know when you get in that ring, and then it's too late. You know, let's just see. Tyson's not a stupid man. He knows where he's at. He feels good in training, but in training is one thing, in the ring, under the lights is another. All we can do is wait and see. He's going to do it anyway, so...
Here's where everything gets even more insane. Lennox Lewis nailed it when he said Fury brings an excitement back to boxing that the sport desperately needed. His return isn't just another comeback fight on the calendar. This is a full-blown spectacle, a reminder of exactly why the entire heavyweight division revolves around whatever Tyson Fury decides to do next. His love for the sport is evident in every interview, every training video, every press conference outburst, and that unpredictability has become his greatest weapon. Fans, pundits, and fellow fighters all know the Gypsy King is capable of surprises that change everything in an instant.
Yeah, I think it's a good fight, especially the return for Tyson Fury. I think the boxing public definitely missed him, and you know, like he said, he loves the sport so much. He came back, and you never really know with Tyson Fury. But there's one thing I did know when he retired, that he would.
And get this, retirement was never actually permanent for Fury, and this return proves his hunger and determination are completely unmatched. Every step he takes, every punch he throws, and even press conference antics like slapping Makhmudov show a fighter who controls narrative, chaos, and expectation with equal brilliance. But Liam Smith highlighted a massive concern that everyone's trying to ignore. Being out of the ring for 15-16 months isn't trivial for any boxer, especially a heavyweight who relies on movement, timing, and finesse rather than pure pressure and power.
Tyson Fury has been out of the ring for well over a year now. By the time he gets back in the ring on April the 11th, he will have been out of the ring for well over a year. You're probably talking close to 15-16 months. It's a long time, especially for someone who is more of a mover, more a boxer. It's not like a...
Yet here's what's crazy about Fury's situation. His discipline during that layoff, combined with his intense training regimen in Thailand and that unmatched fight IQ, suggests he's actually returning sharper and more mentally primed than when he left. Fans should expect a fighter who combines decades of experience, strategic brilliance, and that raw Gypsy King unpredictability that made him famous in the first place. That slap at the press conference shows Fury is in complete command of both mind games and psychological warfare before even stepping through the ropes.
You know, Tyson's looking in magnificent shape, best I've seen him in, to be quite honest, for a long time, and more importantly, mentally he's in a good place. And this is a big fight. He's in with a very, very experienced fighter who's a big man, big puncher. I think he's got a 90% knockout ratio. He's knocked out 17 of his opponents in the first round. So you know he can whack, and he's not fazed about fighting over here. He fought recently over here and beat Dave Allen. And
Frank Warren emphasized something crucial that casual fans are missing entirely. He said this is the best physical and mental shape Fury's been in for years, which is terrifying when you consider he's facing an opponent with a frightening 90% knockout ratio. Makhmudov isn't some tune-up fight or easy comeback opponent. This is a legitimate monster who's destroyed almost everyone he's faced, and Fury's confidence in slapping him shows just how ready he believes he is for war. The Gypsy King's presence commands attention wherever he goes, and his confidence radiates through every room he enters.
Good. I think that mentally he's in a good place. Physically, he looked good as well. He's been working well out in Thailand, and I sort of agree with Paulie. I think that he's a massive addition to the heavyweight scene. He has been over the last 10 years, and I think it's good to have him back. You know, we need the characters. Look.
Spencer Oliver confirmed what hardcore boxing fans have been hoping to see. Tyson Fury is back in peak mental and physical condition. That training camp in Thailand has sharpened his legendary movement, and his mere presence is reinvigorating the entire heavyweight division. Fury isn't just a fighter anymore, he's become a character, a personality, a complete spectacle that transcends the sport itself. Questions about his age or mobility will always linger with casual observers, but the Gypsy King's aura remains absolutely undeniable.
And, you know, Tyson's got enough boxing IQ to think, you know, I've got to do this, that and the other with him to beat him. And he probably will do that, and he should do it quite easily if he's prepared properly.
But wait, it gets worse for anyone hoping to see Fury fail. Dominic Ingle highlighted the brilliance of Fury's boxing IQ, showcasing his supernatural ability to adapt strategy in real time during fights. Fury's intelligence inside the ring perfectly complements his physical gifts, making him a multifaceted threat that few heavyweights can match. That slap at the press conference gives us a glimpse of how he controls narratives and opponents' psyches long before the opening bell rings. Preparedness is obviously key in heavyweight boxing, but Fury's instinctive brilliance means he can dismantle opponents methodically while making it look effortless.
Good little fight. Tyson's nice and relaxed. He's coming back. Again, after retiring, he's back out of retirement. We kind of knew it was going to happen. He seems in a good place. He seems quite happy. He's not out of shape. He's in his usual shape, which isn't great shape in terms of physicalities to look at. He's not good on the optics, but you know he's in shape because he's not 28 stone. He's probably looking about 18 and a half stone-ish, and he's in the gym. I don't think he ever really came out of the gym. He said he's been training twice a day since announcing his last...
Arslan. Now here's the kicker that nobody wants to admit. One analyst provided a brutally honest assessment of Fury's preparation and physical condition that perfectly captures the paradox making him so fascinating to watch. Fury isn't an aesthetic masterpiece like some heavyweight champions. He doesn't have the chiseled physique or intimidating physical presence you'd expect from a dominant champion. But his conditioning, consistency, and dedication to the craft are absolutely unquestionable. Training twice daily, returning from retirement, and maintaining laser focus shows a man entirely committed to reclaiming his spot at the very top of the heavyweight mountain.
Yes, he's a legend, like a big name in boxing, but I come here.
Listen to what Makhmudov said after getting slapped, because his response reveals everything about what kind of fight this is going to be. His words show a fighter with genuine fire and ambition, someone ready to carve his own story against a living legend. Acknowledging Fury's stature in the sport, Makhmudov made it crystal clear he isn't intimidated by reputation, past accomplishments, or psychological games. He came to prove himself, to leave a permanent mark in the heavyweight division, and getting slapped at a press conference only added fuel to that fire.
Do you think Tyson still has a lot to give to the heavyweight division?
Yeah, I do think Tyson has a lot to give to the heavyweight because, you know, he's a good boxer, and there's a lot of guys out there that he hasn't boxed, such as the guys.
The slap might have been Fury asserting immediate dominance, but it also set the stage for what's shaping up to be a clash of eras. The reigning champion and established king versus a hungry, fearless contender who has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Makhmudov's composure and focus in the face of such disrespect shows the kind of mental toughness you need to survive at heavyweight level. This isn't just going to be a fight about power, size, or technical ability. This is a battle of wills, egos, and legacies, with both men absolutely determined to emerge with their place in boxing history firmly established. Lennox Lewis highlighted a key truth that explains everything about Fury's mindset and career choices. Tyson still has so much to offer the heavyweight division, but it's the level of challenges he chooses that will ultimately define his legacy. Fury genuinely thrives when facing dangerous, high-caliber opponents, and that need for meaningful competition drives every decision he makes. From selecting specific fights to the psychological games he plays during promotion, everything is calculated to test his limits and cement his place in history. So there you have it. Tyson Fury slapped a dangerous heavyweight contender at a press conference. His own promoter is worried about security, and we're watching psychological warfare escalate into something that could define both fighters' careers. This isn't just about one moment of violence or disrespect. This is about a champion who refuses to take easy fights, chooses danger over comfort, and uses intimidation as effectively as his jab. The Gypsy King's presence alone changes the entire landscape of heavyweight boxing, and that slap was just the opening shot in what's going to be an absolute war. So here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Do you think Fury crossed the line with that slap, or was it just smart psychological warfare? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell because this fight is going to be absolutely insane. I'll see you in the next one. But here's what's really going to shock you about this entire situation. Behind all the drama and psychological warfare, there's a massive business angle that nobody's talking about. That slap just generated millions of dollars in free publicity across every major sports network, social media platform, and boxing publication on the planet. Frank Warren might be publicly distancing himself from the chaos, but privately, he knows that moment of violence just turned what could have been a routine comeback fight into a must-see heavyweight spectacle. The pay-per-view numbers for this fight were already projected to be strong, but now we're looking at potential blockbuster territory because everyone wants to see how this personal vendetta plays out in the ring. Think about the timing of everything that's happened. Fury's been out of the ring for over a year, the heavyweight division has been relatively quiet without his presence, and suddenly one slap at a press conference has the entire boxing world buzzing again. This isn't coincidence. This is masterclass promotion from a man who understands that modern boxing is as much about entertainment value as it is about athletic competition. Every major boxing analyst, from ESPN to Sky Sports, has been forced to cover this story, giving Fury exactly the kind of global attention that transforms good fighters into superstars and superstars into legends. What's absolutely fascinating is how differently each camp is handling the aftermath. Fury's team is playing it cool, acting like the slap was just another Tuesday at the office, while Makhmudov's corner is using it as motivation fuel. His trainer came out saying that disrespect like that only makes their fighter more dangerous, more focused, and more determined to prove that reputation means nothing when the gloves come on. They're treating this as the ultimate opportunity to announce their arrival on the world stage by defeating a former champion who just showed the world exactly how little he respects their fighter's abilities. But let's dive deeper into what that slap actually reveals about Fury's current mental state. Sports psychologists have been analyzing the footage frame by frame, and what they're finding is genuinely concerning for anyone hoping to see him lose. The speed of his reaction, the precision of the slap, and most importantly, his complete lack of hesitation afterward all point to a fighter who's operating on pure instinct and supreme confidence. There was no pause, no second guessing, no moment of doubt. That's the behavior of someone who truly believes he's untouchable, and historically, that level of self-assurance has carried Fury through the biggest fights of his career. Here's where the story takes an even more interesting turn. Multiple sources close to both camps are reporting that the tension between these two fighters goes back much further than anyone realized. Apparently, there were heated exchanges during negotiations for this fight. Disagreements about everything from the purse split to the location, and Makhmudov's team made some comments about Fury's previous retirement that didn't sit well with the Gypsy King. That press conference slap wasn't just a moment of spontaneous aggression. It was the culmination of months of building frustration and disrespect that finally boiled over in front of the cameras. The most terrifying part about all of this is what it means for the actual fight itself. When you have two heavyweights who genuinely dislike each other, who have personal issues beyond just professional competition, the violence inside that ring reaches a completely different level. We've seen this pattern before in heavyweight history: Ali versus Frazier, Tyson versus Holyfield, Lewis versus Rahman. Personal animosity transforms technical boxing matches into absolute wars where both fighters are willing to absorb incredible punishment just to inflict damage on their opponent. Based on everything we've witnessed, that's exactly what we're heading toward with Fury and Makhmudov. Security footage from the press conference that hasn't been released publicly reportedly shows just how close this situation came to turning into an all-out brawl. According to witnesses, Makhmudov's immediate reaction to the slap was to step forward aggressively, and it was only the quick intervention of security personnel and both fighters' teams that prevented the situation from escalating into something much worse. The fact that a simple press conference required that level of security intervention tells you everything you need to know about the genuine animosity between these two men. What's really wild is how this incident has divided opinion among former heavyweight champions. Some legends are saying Fury crossed a line and showed poor sportsmanship, while others are praising him for the psychological masterstroke that just gave him a massive mental advantage before the fight even begins. Mike Tyson himself weighed in, saying that kind of disrespect either breaks an opponent's spirit completely or turns them into the most dangerous version of themselves. With Makhmudov's knockout ratio and natural power, there's a real argument that Fury just awakened a sleeping giant who was already extremely motivated to make a statement. The international boxing media has been absolutely relentless in their coverage of this story, with major publications from England to Eastern Europe running front-page stories about the slap and its implications for both fighters' careers. What's particularly interesting is how different regions are interpreting the incident. British media is largely portraying it as vintage Fury mind games, while Eastern European outlets are treating it as a sign of disrespect toward their rising heavyweight star. This cultural divide in perception is only adding more fuel to the fire and creating additional pressure for both fighters to prove their respective points inside the ring. Training footage that's emerged since the press conference incident shows both fighters have intensified their preparation in response to the heightened tension. Fury's camp in Thailand has reportedly extended their training schedule, with the Gypsy King putting in extra hours on both conditioning and sparring sessions. Meanwhile, Makhmudov's team has brought in additional sparring partners who specifically mimic Fury's awkward style and movement patterns. Both sides are treating this like a potential career-defining moment, and the level of preparation reflects just how seriously they're taking the personal stakes involved. Here's something that's been completely overlooked in all the coverage: the impact this incident might have on Fury's long-term legacy and marketability. While the slap generated massive publicity and likely increased pay-per-view buys, it also raised questions about his professionalism and conduct outside the ring. Sponsors and broadcasting partners invest huge money in heavyweight champions, and they expect a certain level of behavior from their marquee athletes. If Fury's actions start affecting his commercial relationships, it could have financial implications that extend far beyond this single fight. But perhaps the most significant aspect of this entire situation is what it reveals about the current state of the heavyweight division and where it's heading. Fury's willingness to engage in this level of psychological warfare, combined with the emergence of dangerous contenders like Makhmudov who aren't intimidated by established champions, suggests we're entering a new era of heavyweight boxing. Gone are the days of respectful press conferences and purely technical discussions about fighting styles. This new generation of heavyweights is bringing genuine animosity, personal vendettas, and real violence back to the sport's most prestigious division. The aftermath of that slap is still unfolding, and every development only adds more intrigue to what's already shaping up to be one of the most compelling heavyweight fights in recent memory. Both fighters have now crossed a line that makes backing down impossible, creating the perfect storm for the kind of violent, career-defining confrontation that boxing fans have been craving. When these two giants finally step into that ring, we're not just going to witness a fight. We're going to see the resolution of a genuine blood feud that started with one calculated moment of disrespect and has grown into something much bigger than either fighter probably anticipated.